Morning and welcome back. Now, today, as you've seen from the thumbnail, we're going to be looking at the top 10 construction projects on the farm. Now, I said construction projects because that doesn't include tractor refurbs and rebuilds and all that stuff. So it's actually construction projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 10 potential projects. Some of them we will definitely be doing. Some of them possibly, and there is a couple that would be on the long finger. Now, I've included all feasible projects because stuff that isn't feasible, there's no point putting it on, talking about it when it's never going to happen. So they're in no particular order really. Some of them are small projects, some of them are very large scale projects. So let's get stuck into it. Let's go look at project number 1. Right, project number 1 is, of course, the red shed. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, hold on a minute. Sure, that's built. And you'd be right. It is built, but it's not finished. So, the first project on today's list is to finish the floor in here. This was always meant to have a concrete floor, and at the time we built the shed, which is coming up in a year now. I think January, February was the last of it. So project number 1 is to put a new concrete floor in here, and is to also put a bit of a concrete apron out around here, because otherwise you'd just be bringing all this muck and glar in. So that is project number 1, and that will be happening. It will probably happen at the same time as project number 2. So let's go take a look at project number 2. Here we are at the site of project number 2. Now, you remember the red shed there was the original project, and way back last year the plan was to build both these, let's say, extensions at the same time. However, that didn't happen because couldn't actually build that shed and this shed at the same time, because you would have been undermining the foundations of this shed. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. The red shed, the cubicle house. The plan is to extend the cubicle house out this way and then up onto the wall there, and that will give us much more handling space, let's say, with regards to the cattle. Last year the cubicle house was packed full, and we struggled with creep facilities for calves, calving areas. So this is what this would be used for. So we would cut a hole in the wall there, cut a hole in the wall over there, and put 2 doors on there, and it would allow you then to bring the cows in here. It won't be slatted, it'll just be concrete floor and bed it with straw. We're not going to start digging out a tank and all that malarkey. So that would be what the cubicle house would be, or the extension to the cubicle house would be. And as I said to you, last year we were supposed to do this along with that, but it didn't happen. And this will be happening. This is a project which will be starting very soon. In fact, if I get this video wrapped up today, I might even start in clearing this area out. There's a lot of old rubbish and bits of timber and stuff there to come out. So yeah, so this is project number 2, the extension to the cubicle house. Probability of happening, very high. This will be happening. There's no getting around it. So yeah, so exciting to get this done. We'll make a fantastic job, make handling of the cows a lot easier, and yeah, but a bit of work clearing it out. But anyway, right. So that is the extension to the cubicle house to the south end, right? So project number 3 is extension to the cubicle house to the north end. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, here we are at project number 3. Now I did talk about this one before, whenever we were building the, again, the red shed, and that is to roof over this bit here, probably out to where the tanker is, maybe not just as far, but it would be open fronted, let's say, and slope down at the front, and the roof or the structure itself pretty open, but it would provide handling facilities, a crush is the plan actually, to put a crush in there, and that means we could handle the cattle a lot handier than the way we do at the minute, because what we do at the minute is, it's a bit of a bollocks of a thing, but you've seen it maybe last year when we did the TB testing, where we have to clean out the passage, set up the gates, set up the crush, and then take it all back down again. I mean, there's part of the gates for it there. Take it all down again, and then put it all back up again whenever you come back in a couple of days to retest, and then take it all back down again, and so on and so forth, every time you have to do something with cattle where you need to dose them or whatever. So the walls are here. All it would be a simple roof, following the same pitch and the same height as a cubicle house, just going up. No stanchions here or anything. It would be cantilevered out. Probably wouldn't even go as far as the tanker. It would probably go half the distance of the door there, and that would make a great job of that. And again, you know, as I say, you'd have a crush in there. You could park the forklift in there. You know, it just would be handy, and it wouldn't take a lot to do it. So, as I say, probably the most expensive bit, the concrete bit, is done, and you're talking about a bit of steelwork and a bit of timber and a bit of tin. So, yeah. So probability of that happening is very high. Just don't know the time scale for that one. So the last 2 projects will be starting this year. For this one, project 3, don't know. See, that could be maybe next year. But anyway, so that's definitely going to happen. Just not sure when. So that's project number 3. Now, we'll go and have a look at project number 4, which is just down here. And this one is a big one. This is a big one. And anyway, we'll have a look at it and see. Here is the site of project number 4. And this would be a new shed, almost identical to this, on the bottom side here. And now this would be a big project. It would be a major construction project, pretty much similar to that. Now the amount of digging and excavation would be minimal, because it's, I'll turn the camera around, it's a pretty level site, so there wouldn't be a lot of digging in it. And the reason for the new house here would be a machinery house. Now I know you're going to say, hold on a minute, we just saw you put all the machinery into the house up there just beyond where the tanker is. That is true, and that is our current machinery house. However, that is a silo, and with the price of round bales, we would like to use the silo for grass and not for machinery. These things are expensive to make now, very expensive to make, and we have a purpose-built shed. Why wouldn't you use it for grass? Now, you also might say, hold on, why don't you just leave that as a machinery house and just use that as the clamp? Job done. Well, thought of that as well. However, there's a couple of water courses very close to, there's one just behind where that gate is over there. And the problem with that is effluent and runoff from the silage. Now, anybody who maybe isn't familiar with making silage, that whenever you cut the grass, the juice of the grass, depending on how dry it is, can run out of the silo, and that shouldn't be allowed to run into water courses or anything like that. So the silo that we have, purpose-built silo, up the top end there, has drainage facilities to drain all that effluent into the tanks, and this one here wouldn't have that. So that is why we would like to make this site into a new machinery house and then get the silo back. Now, as I said at the start of this is project 4. The cost of this would be quite high. Now, you're looking at, you've seen me build this shed, so you're looking at building that again here. And what we would probably do is that would block all that off. These trees would have to come down. So it will be, again, same construction. So it would be reinforced concrete with steel frame and timber and tin. Let's say these trees would come out. This would all get taken away. And this would be the new road where the trailers are there, would be the new road through, and then you would turn up and head up the lane there. I'll just go up the other side and show you what I mean. So yeah, so the new road to the top yard would be where the old 40-foot container is there, if you can see it through the trees. All this would come away, and then, yeah, so there would be the new road up, and that would take you up, if you can see there, all the way up to the top yard. Now, probability of this happening, I'm going to give it a low probability. I'm going to give it a low probability for the simple reason is that it's just a major construction project. It would cost a lot, and the amount of money that it would cost to build that we could use on a number of other projects which, let's say, would be a little bit more feasible and more, let's say, more required. So yeah, so that's project 4. As I say, probability, I'm going to give it a low probability. Right, so that is project number 4. Let's go and have a look now at project number 5, which is a much easier a much easier project, and one that is probably got a, let's say, a lot higher probability of actually happening. So let's go take a look at project number 5. Right, here we are at project number 5. Now, as you can see, the wind and the rust has kind of started this project, and you can see where I'm going to go with this. The plan here is to extend the back of this out here. So it would be take this away, this whole section away, and extend out. We'll go take a look at it from the other side, because kind of like same idea as this house, only on the other side of it. So it'll be like that, only on the other side of the Hayshed. But we'll go around the back and I'll show you what's involved in that. Right, here I am at the kind of the back of the Hayshed, where the proposed extension is going to be. And basically, what it would do is it would extend that out, the same as I showed you on the other side. The back, this old Hayshed is, as you can see from this, is pretty much shook. You know, that's like paper there. So that would all come away, and a new extension would go down here behind me, where these, just this overgrown tree areas. Now the materials for this are here on the farm. It would be a simple structure, kind of like what's over on the other side. It would just be done by telegraph poles, timber and new tin. We would have to, you see down here, you can hear the water running. We'd probably have to pipe this little bit of the burn and divert it maybe a little bit that way, just to keep it away from the foundation. But this is just a dead space in here. It's just overgrown. It's a bit of a disaster zone, really. So the plan would be to clear all that out and put a little extension on the back of the shed. What do you need an extension for? You guessed it, machinery. So yeah, we would love to get all the machinery in the farm in, every single piece, but that's never really possible. It's not really feasible. However, if we had this done, this would allow us to free up other space and just make it easier. So this project has a high probability of being done. The materials are here, the blocks are here from a other job that we did. The steel is here. Just need new timber and tin really, and that's all we need for this job. So this is definitely a job that's on the high probability list. It's just a case of getting the time to do it. Yeah, the plan was to get in this year, was to break through the fence there and get in here, but we just didn't get it done. It's just one of those things. Yeah. Anybody looking at a good Peugeot car? One careful owner from you. And that's a car for you there. Anyway, let's move on to, that was project 5. So let's move on to project number 6, which is, yeah, we'll go to the front side for that. So let's go take a look at project number 6. Right, project number 6, you can probably see from behind me here, and it won't be hard to kind of see what that is. And that project is re-roofing these old slate roofs. And you can see there's a slip slate already. There's 2 slip slates there. There's one over there. And there's a lot of these, we call them lead, they're stainless steel, but we call them lead tingles. There's another slate going to go. So that roof has had it, and it's been like that for years. We've been patching up and patching up and patching it up. It'll soon be that every slate will be held on one of these, but the slates, the roof itself is suffering from what's called nail fatigue, where the slates are fine, but the nails that hold the slates in place are rotten, and they just break, and then off comes the slate, especially in nights where or when you have high winds, whatever, it starts to shake and they just rattle loose and out they come. So yeah, so that's a project that is a must do, and that is to re-roof that, the backside as well, and that roof down there as well beside the house, the old house. So yeah, so that is project number 6. That is a must-do project. It's not a project you can put in the long finger. That will have to be done. So, not really sure when, possibly this year, possibly next year. Just need to get the prices in for that and get it done. But yeah, I mean, it could be done in tin. You could do it in tin, but it would be cheap. It wouldn't. If you do that in slate, it'll last 50, 60, 70 years. Do it in tin, it's 25 years. So it's a bit of a false economy. Plus it wouldn't look right. So we'll put it back the way it was. We'll do up the doors, do up these old houses. They're part of the original farm, and just kind of keep it the way it is. The main farm is obviously up the back, but they're just for little houses for the dogs stay in there. There used to be a cows and calves in there and whatever, but not so much now. It's more the dogs are there, and then the timber stores down the bottom there. So anyway, that is project 6, and that's re-roofing the old outhouses. Probability very high. Construction time not sure. Possibly next year. Right, project 7. Project number 7 is a job, or a project, not a job, that we have talked about for years. And it is very simply roofing over the sheep pen. This is the sheep pen. There's the ducks. This is the sheep pen. This is the area where we use to handle the sheep. There's a little bit of a sheep race here. And the plan here has been to extend this out slightly. So maybe out another 4 or 5 feet, build a little bit of a wall, and then a little bit of a roof structure over it. Simple construction, a little bit of steel, a little bit of timber, a little bit of tin. Isn't really that expensive. Again, it's not one of these jobs that just rolls on, never really gets done. So yeah, expansion to the sheep pen and then roofing over it would be, not the whole pen now, just this bit to the side here. And the idea of that, or the reason for that, is that there's days up here when you're working with sheep, especially in the lambing time, that it's nice and rain on top of you, you're trying to work with them. If you had somewhere that was kind of sheltered inside, it would make it that little bit more pleasant. Not that working with sheep isn't in any way pleasant in the first place, but it would just make it that little bit better. So, time scale for this, I don't really know. It's one of those jobs that it's feasible. It's actually quite easy to do, but it's a job that just never really got done. We have been chatting about it for a long, long time now, and it just never really got done. So, yeah, I don't know. Possibly in the next 5 years, something like that. But there was chat about starting this year, and there was big chat, and then it kind of fell away, and the roof and other things took precedence, and it just sort of ended up there. But yeah, so that's project number 7, did I say? Project 7, roofing over the sheep pen, or part of the sheep pen. Okay, right, now, this is project number 8, and this is not actually on the farm, but I thought we'd include it. And the probability of this one happening, as you can see, is quite high because it's already started. Project number 8 is building a new lane on the out farm. And you can see that the lane is heading down that way to the gate, and then hopefully the sun stays out of my eyes, and it goes up to here, and then it goes along, and we'll go up and have a quick look at it. But the idea behind this is twofold. One is that this laneway over here doesn't belong to us, so this gives us our own lane that we can drive on and do as you like. It also helps with bale storage, so this will be fenced off eventually. There'll be a fence running down there, and we can then store the bales here in the winter time, and then we can lift them when we need them. And lastly, having this laneway here will help with loading of the sheep when you have to get them back out of the field, because at the minute it's a bit of a disaster. You kind of have to pen them in, and it just doesn't work. So if you can just run them down this lane and put the trailer at the bottom there, and they'll just run straight onto the trailer. So there's kind of 3 reasons for it. The material itself is just old broken flags and stone and whatever. Yeah, so that it's perfect for this job. It's clean, beds down, and then we'll just put a little layer of maybe dust or what do you call that, ground gravel stuff, forget the name of it, over the top of it, and that'll make a perfect road there, and you drive up and down that no problem. So yeah, so that is project number 8, and as I say, that project is up and running, as you can see. So hopefully, if the weather would keep dry, we'll get back at it again and get it finished. So there's a few loads of stone to come over and things to kind of make up. So, but yeah, so that's that. Anyway, let's head back to the farm, finish up with project number 9 and project number 10. Right, we're back on the farm and picking up where we left off, really. This is project number 9, and this project is a project we talked about for a long time, and it kind of was one of the options before the new shed was built, and that is digging out behind here and building a shed here, which would probably have been a machinery shed. Now, don't worry about the old trailer here, I'll come to that in a minute. This project, it's in because it is feasible to do it, but the probability is quite low. Don't really want to develop any more down here, keep the development up to the top side really. And it's a restricted space. You have the kind of the hill here behind me. It's not ideal. It's feasible, but it's not ideal. So for that reason, the shed got moved. The let's say the hassle outweighed the gain of it, and that's why we went to the top side and built the tractor shed that we have. So yeah, so this one, I say, is feasible, but chances of it happening very slim. So it has a low probability, and yeah, it'll probably stay that way. So I don't see that one happening, certainly not in the near future. That is project number 9. Let's go finish up and look at project number 10, which is probably the biggest project of the whole lot. Let's go take a look. Hopefully you can hear me. I've got the, well, you've seen for the whole video, I've got this mic on, and it's been cutting, hopefully it's been cutting out the wind noise. Previously I was using the iPhone, and you get a lot of wind noise from that, so hopefully this is working. Anyway, last project is project number 10, which would be the biggest project of all of them, and probably bigger than all the rest of them put together, in fairness. And that project is to build a new sheep house along the side here. So we obviously get rid of the boat and all this rubbish, and dig that out, build a new sheep house in there for lambing the sheep and wintering the sheep. And that is itself a massive project, because it would kind of be replicating the garage workshop here, and yeah, the scale of it is huge, because maybe not really seen the camera, but the land itself, there would be some serious excavation work to go into that. You would be digging down 10 feet maybe, and they'd have to build a significant retaining wall to keep the whole field back. So that's going to be massive concrete into that. And then it's the shed itself is a full, I suppose there's very little to lean off that, so it'll probably just be a round roof again, and joined to that one. So it would be, yeah, it would be a big project. The feasibility of it, the cost of it versus the actual sheep, it's a no-brainer. It's probably not feasible. It's not feasible, there's no probably about it. It's not feasible to build a house and expect the sheep to pay for it, because they just wouldn't. But I did touch on it earlier in the video when I talked about the silo. We did think if we built the machinery house to the bottom, which I talked about, which was project I think 3 or 4, and we could then put sheep slats in the silo, not put any silage in it, but put sheep slats in the silo and convert that to a sheep house, rather than just building one here, because it's just not feasible. So yeah, so that's project 10, and as I say, it's not a feasible project. I did include it. I did say, you know, the projects were supposed to be feasible. Pie in the sky stuff I left out, like runways and helicopter pads and things like that. Oh, there's nothing wrong with those. But yeah, so that's that. So yeah, so let's move back down the yard and we'll finish up the video. Okay, so you would have seen this old trailer in the back of the videos there, and I suppose I better explain it. It's not ours, it's a neighbour's trailer, which he inherited whenever he bought the farm. And it's missing a hub here at the back. You can see that there, and that is a hub for it, which you just have to put on for him. And then it's heading off to be stripped and rebuilt. Now they're going to keep the bottom bit there, but I think the whole top bit of it is to be the whole top of it is to be built again. So yeah, so it's a bit of a project, that for sure, but thank God it's not ours. So once Dad gets a hub on it, and it's heading off. Right folks, there you go. That is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed the little tour of the farm and the out farm, and looking at some of the projects that will be happening in the future, and some of the projects that, well, might happen, but probability low. So yeah, I think certainly for the forthcoming videos, you will see us begin to work on the expansion to the Cubicle house. I mentioned that, and a few other projects there that are definitely happening. So keep an eye out on the channel for those. For the projects, the bigger ones there, like the sheep house and expansion to the bottom of the tractor shed, yeah, we're waiting on the lottery numbers aligning. When they do, they will probably kick off, and if they don't, well, they might just stay on the long finger. So anyway, so there you go. I'd say that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please. And if you really, really enjoyed the video, hit the old sub button. It's free, of course. So anyway, there we go. We'll leave it there. We'll pick it up next week. We'll be back to the regular stuff again, probably. So that's it from me. Take care. Bye-bye.